So I, like many of you, have been paying attention to politics for quite some time now. But I've personally been making videos about Canadian politics, about the news for a long time. One of the first people, at least it seems, to be making it in this current, Canadian political spectrum or Canadian content creator bubble, whatever you want to call it. And one thing I've noticed is that once the summer break comes along, once the winter break comes along, that's it. The reporters they don't ask any more questions. There's no more interviews. It's just a media blackout. But this time is different. Especially even in the summertime, there was a lot of buildup to an election's going to get called, something's going to happen. And then the summertime was insane. Like there were no days off. There was shit happening every single day. And then Parliament resumed. And now we're faced with the winter break. And what a way to start the winter break. You talk about, a Monday and a Tuesday that's supposed to be pretty dull, and it's like the biggest time in Canadian politics history. And then what was supposed to happen this week is absolutely nothing. Justin Trudeau didn't say anything on Monday or Tuesday, and that's it. Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives, they said their piece, and then that's it. And everyone's supposed to go home. But tensions are so high. Everything is so chaotic that that's not the case. And I don't want to give like praise to politicians that are going above and beyond their job and still doing interviews and speaking with reporters, but I don't not want to give them praise because we're heading in a time where it's the holidays, it's Christmas, people are focusing on gifts, spending time with their family and friends, and just kind of enjoying this little bit of a decompression period. But when you enjoy the decompression period, you also start to feel less things that are relevant in the news cycle because it's not there every single day. And by no means am I suggesting that Pierre or people that are in the press are doing this to keep something relevant and keep us angry. But that is one of the side effects of paying attention to the news is you feel certain things and you have this burning passion, in this case, to want to vote Trudeau out or have him resign. And so what we're taking a look at today in this video is Pierre Poilievre does an interview with the media asking for Justin Trudeau to resign, which, again, Pierre's not even supposed to be working. He's technically supposed to be at home enjoying the holidays, but here he is, and this isn't me blowing smoke up his ass saying, oh, good job, he's such a hard worker, but it's also not me not doing that. I don't even know. There's a lot of knots in this one. Moving on. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage you all to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. It does really help with the growth. And I also want to encourage you guys to turn on post notifications. It's that little bell notification so you can actually be notified of upcoming videos. You're not going to want to miss a single beat. Things are so crazy. They're so intense that you never know when there might be an emergency live stream. And I would hate for that to, you guys not be notified of that and miss out and have to watch a day or 2 day old news. But never mind that. Let's get into this interview. Here we go.
It's been a historic week in Canadian politics as the Prime Minister's number 2, former Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland, dropped her bombshell resignation on Monday, sending ripples across the country. The resignation has led to a chorus of voices calling on Justin Trudeau to resign, and one of the loudest among them has been Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. On Monday, he demanded the government call an immediate election, saying it needs to be done before President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th. Trump has threatened Canada with 25% tariffs on Canadian goods if the feds fail to crack down on drug smuggling and illegal migrants crossing the border into the U.S. Earlier today, I sat down with the Tory leader where I asked him about how he will handle Trump, Doug Ford's media blitz in the U.S., and if he can get Jagmeet Singh to support a non-confidence motion against Trudeau. Mr. Poilievre, if an election were called today and you won, would you have enough time to be prepared for Trump to take office?
Yes, because I'm already prepared. I know exactly what I want to do. We need to put Canada first. We need to counter the threat by projecting strength, and that means saying to President Trump that we will never be the 51st state. We are a strong, independent, proud nation. We also happen to be the best friend and closest neighbor to the biggest military and economic superpower the world has ever seen. President Trump has raised concerns about our border and military. We should address those concerns. We need to take back control of our border to stop drugs, guns, and illegal migration. We need to rebuild our military to secure the North. He's raised concerns about the issue of our state trade surplus. And what I would say to President Trump is that's almost entirely oil and gas. And if anyone's getting ripped off on that deal, it's us, because our fanatical politicians, activists, and gatekeeping bureaucrats have blocked us from refining and transporting our own oil and gas. So that's why we give it to the Americans at a huge discount from which they profit massively. If he wants to stop that arrangement, he would kill thousands of American jobs and drive up U.S. gas prices. So I think I can very easily convince him that it is in his interest to keep the border open to trade. The bottom line is President Trump wants to put America first. I want to put Canada first. The good news is that our countries share common interests and values, so both of us can win. And Canada will win when I'm Prime Minister, because we will have a strong leader who has the brains and backbone to defend our country.
If you can't convince Trump, would retaliatory tariffs...
Even that bit right there is such a... it's so different than how Justin Trudeau talks. I mean, he's not going off any script. He's not going off of any teleprompter. He's just speaking from either memory or the heart or a combination of both. And this is the thing that makes Pierre Poilievre different than a lot of other Canadian just politicians, never mind people that are running for prime minister, is he's got the riz. He's got the thing that gets people motivated. I mean, for crying out loud, when on Monday the Liberals failed to actually table the fall economic update. I mean, I know Karina Gould officially tabled it by getting up and literally saying, I am now tabling this, and then sat down. Pierre Poilievre spoke minutes later, and he gave this heartfelt speech. And you can see the video for yourself if you go to my House of Canada Clips channel. It has like 1.3 million views. That's because Pierre Poilievre is such a good public speaker. Now, I'm not saying by any means that is the only thing that you need to be a good prime minister or leader. Not at all, not even close. But it's a pretty big chunk. It's what gets people motivated. It's what gets people to relate to you, to the message you're trying to convey. If you can't do that, then no one's going to want to listen to you. And that's where Justin Trudeau has a lot of difficulty, among with quite literally everything else. You talk about just telling the truth, not gaslighting, being a decent human being. Those are some things that Justin Trudeau also fails miserably in. But when it comes to just public speaking and talking, no ums and ahs, no hiccups. I don't feel like I'm being gaslit. I feel like I'm relating to this guy that's talking, and that's all people want. Or that's not all, I shouldn't say that, but that's a big part of what people want is relatability, transparency, and just somebody nice and good as prime minister. Those are some very entry level basic requirements that what people are looking for. And that's where Pierre Poilievre really increases his stretch from any other runner-up, right?
Be on the table. And what about Doug Ford's idea to cut off electrical supplies to the U.S.?
Well, of course we'd have to respond. And that's why I would say to President Trump, why would you want this? You know, a strong Canada will make for a stronger America. We need to unite to confront common threats like interference by Beijing, unfair trade practices from China, terrorist threat from Iran. All of those things require a strong Canada and a strong America. So the other thing I would do is I'd axe the carbon tax, because, you know, NDP and Liberals want to quadruple this tax to 61 cents a liter. That's going to drive hundreds of billions of dollars of our jobs, our trucks, and our businesses out of the country into the arms of Donald Trump. But we need to elect a common sense conservative government that will axe taxes, remove bureaucracy, unleash our economy to once again produce powerful paychecks for our people on this side of the border.
Do you approve of Doug Ford's push in the U.S. to drive the issue of tariffs? If you become prime minister, would you want to see Ford continue to push in the U.S.?
No, not if you become prime minister. It's a matter of when. There is not a singular politician that is better suited, but also more popular than Pierre Poilievre right now. The only person that's more popular would be Justin Trudeau, but that's not good popularity. Those are bad popularity points, which, contrary to what Donald Trump's famous quote is, any publicity is good publicity when it comes to running in an election or something that you need to get votes on. That's where there's a bit of a difference. So not all publicity is good publicity, and Pierre Poilievre's done a phenomenal job of maintaining very good publicity. He hasn't had too many real controversies, and the party has been pretty good themselves. So far, it's not if you become Mr. Reporter, it's when he becomes. You're talking to the next Prime Minister of Canada. Show some respect.
Sure, we need all Canadians to push our agenda, our pro-Canada, Canada First agenda in the States, but I think the problem is Trudeau and the NDP Liberal government in Ottawa is so weak and chaotic that the premiers have had no choice but to replace the normal role of the federal government in performing diplomacy, border control, and many other federal responsibilities.
I'm going to say something here, and I don't want it to be taken out of context. I certainly don't want it to seem like I'm blowing smoke up his ass, but I feel like ever since Pierre ran and then won in the conservative leadership race, he's changed his entire branding, right? Used to have the glasses, and I'm just watching him right now, and not in not in a weird way, but I'm noticing that even his jaw structure, he's losing weight, he's working out, and that's phenomenal. And take it from somebody who's going in a bit of the opposite direction here with kids. My time has been very skewed, but nonetheless, I feel like he's really trying to prove to everybody that he's a strong leader, and leaders lead. And so by him, taking fitness seriously, getting in good shape, it just seems like it's these little small things, right? They add up. And I mean, I know some people are going to say, "Oh yeah, that's a good point." Other people are going to say, "Man, don't make it weird." But look, it's just something I'm noticing, right? I'm not saying that we need a prime minister who's in terrific shape, but yeah, I mean, if you want to lead, it's good to be a strong leader physically and then also mentally strong, right?
What we have right now is a Trudeau NDP Liberal government that has totally lost control of everything. They've lost control of borders, immigration, spending, debt, inflation, housing costs, crime, drugs, and now Trudeau's lost control of his cabinet. We need a new government that will take back control of our borders and immigration, take back control of spending, inflation, crime. And I am the leader who has the strength and the smarts to do that. So now let's call an election so Canadians can bring it home.
Have you reached out to Donald Trump to try and secure a meeting?
No.
What about Jagmeet Singh? Have you reached out to him to see if you could secure his support?
Do you think that Pierre should have reached out to Donald Trump, or do you think that him playing it, I don't want to say playing it cool, but just not really having anything to do with Donald Trump yet, not any behind the door deals or conversations, nothing public, just him focusing on Canada has been the right approach? Because if I'm being totally honest, I don't think that he's crossed the line, whereas Trudeau has, very much so. When you look at the differences in how both people that are one's currently leading, the other one's trying to lead, have handled the whole Trump fiasco. I know it's different because Trudeau is the leader, so he has to do something. So him taking in the initiative and going down to Mar-a-Lago, some pros to that, some cons to that. Some people agree, some people disagree. But what I fully agree with is Pierre Poilievre's approach to Donald Trump so far. And of course, it's probably my bias talking. If Pierre did something different, I would probably reevaluate, what he's done and say, oh yeah, this is probably the best thing he's done, right? Possibly that's the bias, right? But it's just also my opinion. Him not have anything to do with Donald Trump and just focusing on Canada first, I think is a really good approach. He hasn't made any threats to Trump saying, hey, we're going to cut your power off. That's been other politicians that have done that. So I think that Pierre's just approach to this has been calm, cool, collected, and extremely professional, whereas the Liberals and Justin Trudeau has been not so positive. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below.
On a non-confidence motion.
Yes, I've been constantly reaching out to him every day in Parliament. We've been sending the message. In fact, I took a very unprecedented and nonpartisan step of quoting Jagmeet Singh's criticisms of Justin Trudeau in a motion of non-confidence. So I took Mr. Singh's words where he said that Trudeau was weak and greedy, and I put that right in the text of a conservative non-confidence motion, and then Jagmeet Singh sold out and voted against his own words in order to keep Trudeau in power. And the problem we're dealing with here, of course, is Singh is trying to delay the election until February of next year when he qualifies for his $2.2 million pension. So here we are, this ridiculous situation where our country is paralyzed by chaos and anarchy because Jagmeet Singh wants his pension. One man is keep holding 41 million Canadians hostage. So we need to fire both Singh.
Hey, does Pierre Poilievre, does he watch my videos? Because that's the exact wording that I have said many, many times. And I feel like I came up with it. I don't feel like I was repeating anything Pierre said, but holding 41 plus million Canadians hostage, he just said it word for word. So I'm not saying that he watches my videos, but I'm not saying that as well.
And Trudeau in a carbon tax election, and we'll elect common sense conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime.
It's a very simple slogan, axe the tax, but for a lot of people it feels like affordability is a very complicated issue. Beyond axing the tax, how do you fix the affordability crisis? Or is it that simple?
The cause is government, 100% government. Food prices have risen 36% faster in Canada than in the United States over the last 3 years, a gap that has opened and widened as the carbon tax, supported by both NDP and Liberals, has applied to the farmers and truckers who bring us our food. Then you have the more than $700 billion of money printing deficits. Well, when you print money, you bid up the cost of all the goods. It's more money chasing fewer goods, which always equals higher prices. So we have to slash bureaucracy, fire these high-priced consultants, cut corporate welfare and foreign aid to bring down deficits, inflation, and interest rates and income taxes. And that's what I mean when I say fix the budget. Don't just fix the budget so the accountants are happy. Fix the budget so that we can protect our money against inflation caused by government.
Last question for you, sir, on housing. A lot of people in their 30s and 40s with young families are concerned that they'll never be able to afford a home. How quickly do you think you could make housing affordable again if you're elected Prime Minister?
Well, immediately I will axe the GST on new homes. That will save up to 50 grand for a new home purchase. I'll also push the provinces to match that, which would increase the savings to well over $100,000 a home. I will incentivize municipalities to speed up permits, free up land, and cut development charges so that we can build 15% more homes per year every single year. The number one cost in a new home is government. A third is of the cost of a new home is just direct taxes. Then another third, roughly, is the zoning consultants, lawyers, accountants, lobbyists that you have to hire in order to get your permit. If we slashed through that, then we could have far more affordable housing like they do in the United States. Look, you can buy a castle in Texas for $400,000.
That's
In
right.
Canada, you're lucky if you can buy a condo for that price. So what's the difference? They have far more people, far less land. And the difference is that you can get a permit very easily and with very little tax. If we did the same, we'd have incredibly affordable homes. But after 9 years of Trudeau and the NDP Liberals, housing costs have doubled in Canada and they have tripled in Hamilton. So let's fire the NDP Liberals who caused the problems, axe the taxes, slash the bureaucracy, build the homes.
I think that Pierre's message is very much resonating with most Canadians, which is why he's got such a gigantic, making up words as I go along, why he has such a gigantic lead in the polls. And I think that people are just extremely fed up with everything that's going on with Justin Trudeau, the Liberals, unaffordability. We're heading into Christmas time and we're all saving GST, which means almost nothing, right? On a regular double coffee that you get from Tim Hortons, you're saving 20 cents, 30 cents for a coffee. I mean, that's insane. You'd have to buy thousands of coffees in order to save hundreds of dollars. That's not a big help. Sure, by definition, it is a help, but how much help is what really matters when you're talking about unaffordability in Canada, and not to mention that the GST rebate is very, discriminatory. It doesn't apply to anyone who's on a pension, anyone who's on disability, right? It excludes a tremendous amount of people. You make $149,000, $999,999, whatever, and then you make $152,000 a year, and you all of a sudden don't get a $250 check. Now, sure, that is going to help some people, but it's $250. People want prices of things to come down, wages to come up, and the government can brag about having 1.8, 1.9, 2.1% inflation right now, but the damage has already been done. It's like they're not listening. Guys, you got to listen to me. You gotta listen. Inflation's at 1.8%. It's the best it's ever been. Who cares? Inflation was just at 15%. Two years ago. What do you mean? What do you mean it's at 1.9%? Nobody cares about that. Blueberries are twice as much as they were 2-3 years ago. But you're bragging about inflation right now. Inflation, 1.8% doesn't bring the prices down. 1.8% inflation means the price of everything is going up on average only 1.8% right now this year. But the damage, like I said, has already been done. So people want house prices to come down, mortgage rates to come down, interest rates, inflation, everything needs to come down drastically. And inflation has to almost go into the negative, and we need prices to really come down and wages to go up. And it doesn't help that our Canadian dollar is the worst it's ever been in like 40 years or something absolutely ridiculous, if I'm not mistaken. What's the answer? What's the way out of this? Well, it doesn't even matter what the Liberals have to offer right now, because they've had 9 years to try to fix this, and every single year it's getting worse and worse and worse. And they're bragging about all of these budgets. The budget was supposed to be, they projected $40 billion deficit, and they hit $62 billion. I mean, that's just, hey, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense to even a child. That doesn't make sense. And so at some point, something big is going to have to happen. And can it happen over the Christmas holidays? It could. We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the video. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. If you haven't yet already, I would like to encourage you guys to hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.